Okay, hello. It's that time of the day. 7 o'clock. It's Monday. I'm here, and you're either there or not there. Welcome to the show. It is March the 10th. It's our first week of spring forward, so we lost an hour of sleep over the weekend. That kind of sucks, but here we are, and here I am. Got a bunch of stuff to talk about this week. Jeez, man, it's gonna be a weird week, I guess. We got Mark Carney is now leading the Liberal Party. So Trudeau hasn't officially stepped down, but he's stepped down. He said he's stepping down, so he's stepping down. And now Mark Carney's in. So how long is he going to go before he pulls an election? By all accounts, he's saying it's going to be quick. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. We'll talk about that. Also, we're going to talk about there's a U.S. bill, whatever, being implemented, or well, it's being proposed, I should say, to ban the funding on an invasion of Canada, as well as Greenland and Panama and such funding. Anyway, on that, what's up, Joe? How do you go from Trudeau to someone arguably worse? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're gonna talk about that. But yeah, this bill on a banned invasion of Canada. You can't make this shit up. We're gonna talk about that. It's a funny article, and we'll go through it. Also, we got hackers hacked X. Pretty bad hack on X today, and they've been hacking X for a while, but this seems like a coordinated effort. And now it's looking like, according to Elon, that it may be from a group in around Ukraine. So could be related to Ukraine, could be an outside group. I don't know. I'm going to talk about another hack that happened on Bybyte, which is another crypto hack. These have been happening like steadily. So if you're in the crypto space, be wary. We're going to talk about that. Maybe there might be some correlation to the two, but we'll discuss. We'll see where we land. Also, we're going to talk about Gavin Newsom. He's got his own podcast. If you've seen it, he actually had Charlie Kirk on just recently, and pretty good podcast. I listened to the whole thing. It's about an hour and a half, hour and 20 minutes, something like that. And he kind of let Charlie belt at him, which was cool. But I think this is a move. I think this is a move to put himself as a clear runner for the Democratic Party in the next election cycle, and maybe some way of severing themselves from some really unpopular woke policies. So we'll talk about that. And lastly, we're going to talk about the show Severance, Apple TV's darling show, and how season 2 has kind of just sucked. Let's be real. I'm a big fan of the show, not a big fan of season 2. So we're going to talk about that and see where we land on that. If you haven't yet already and you do like the podcast, hit the subscribe button. This doesn't cost you any money. Helps a small channel like this. We're growing slowly, so it's nice to see the growth, but it's very slow. At this point, you're under 1,000 subs. It's pretty slow. But if you want to help that out, best way to do it is to sub and to share the channel and get this in front of other people. And if they like it, to sub too. And you know how it works. Engagement. And engage with the videos, right? If you like the content, get some comments in there, like all that kind of stuff. And if you miss any part of the live broadcast and you want to check out smaller clips from the show, you can during the week between Tuesday and Sunday. I drop them at 5 Eastern Standard Time, and obviously share and like and all that kind of shit. All the engagement with that, like I said, helps the small channel. So yeah, without further ado, let's get to it. Let me plop this up. I had a bit of technical issues before, of course, just before I logged in. And yeah, and that was, yeah, so it kind of screwed up my whole setup. What are you saying, Joe, there? My crypto's not doing well, but it's doing better than BTC by percentage yet. Is there anything good on Apple TV? Yeah, Severance used to be good on Apple TV. I'm so disappointed this year. Yeah, you don't hear anybody saying anything about it this year because honestly, it just sucks. I hate it. I hate that it sucks, but it sucks. But yeah, let's get into this first thing anyway before we get into Severance and all that. Here we go. So Mark Carney is in. We knew it was coming. It doesn't mean that he's going to be, well, it technically means he's going to be the next prime minister. It doesn't mean he's going to be anything more than a stopping post, essentially. This is, it's going to be a pit stop, essentially. Hopefully. I mean, If I'm wrong, then he's going to be the next prime minister for the next unforeseeable future, which would suck. But I'm going to read this article. This is The Guardian, so don't expect much. They're pretty much dog shit. Let's see what they have to say here. So Canada's designated Prime Minister Mark Carney meets Trudeau as Trump threat looms. So this is what they're going to do. They're going to go in this whole end that Carney's going to be tough on Trump and tough on tariffs and all this bananas. Just garbage bullshit. Let's just, again, shiny, the shiny coin. Let's just get everybody's eyes off of what's really going on with the economy and housing, the crisis and the immigration crisis and all this. And let's talk about this stupid contrived tariff war with Trump. This is one thing I got to say, and I'm a fan of Trump and a lot of stuff that he does. And I think the guy's funny and stuff. I'm not a big fan of him as a politician because I think he's crass, but I like him as a guy. I think he's pretty cool. And again, I like some of his policies, but this one was dog shit. Like, what are you doing? You need these tariffs? This is really something that you should have done to Canada at this point. You're fucking us up here. We were rolling along. Poilievre was the clear front runner. Trudeau was going to step down and do his thing, but now you're just giving this other thing for Canadians to focus on. And then they can just kind of like, lose track with what was going on before that. It's like, oh, now the big threat is the tariffs, and ooh, it's not even going to be that big a fucking deal, but it's just made to be this big deal now. And now it's just going to be enough theater to distract. And now you see that the Liberals are surging in Canada. They're up six points in the last month, which is stupid. Ever since Trudeau resigned, now all the never anything but Liberals are just going to stick with the Liberal Party. And this shit isn't helping. But anyways, let me read this article here. Canada's incoming Prime Minister Mark Carney has met with Justin Trudeau as the pair discusses a transfer of power after the former central banker's landslide victory at the Liberal Party's leadership race. The meeting on Monday sets the stage for an imminent federal election and gives Canada a fresh leader to square off against the United States president. See what I mean about Guardian? It gives him a fresh leader. Shut up. Give me a fresh leader. He's part of the same damn party that's been in for a decade. He's just a cog in that stupid wheel. So this is what I'm talking about. Guardian's garbage. With the two countries locked in a bitter trade war provoked by Donald Trump. Briefly speaking to reporters, Carney said he was honored to receive nearly 86% of the vote, one of the most decisive wins of a party leader in decades. But yeah, because you thrust it on him in a month. Obviously, people don't know where else to vote. What do they got? They're going to vote for dog shit Chrystia Freeland? Obviously not. But the 59-year-old former banker said he had a lot of wood to chop as he prepares to assume the reins of a country tearing on the verge of economic calamity. Again, what are you talking about? Economic calamity? I know. Oh, these tariffs they're going to crush our fragile society. Carney is widely expected to call an election within days, reflecting both the urgency of Canada's trade war with the United States and the awkward reality that as Prime Minister without a seat in Parliament, he is unable to attend sessions of the House of Commons. That's kind of funny. First, however, Trudeau must visit the Governor General, the largely ceremonial representative of King Charles, and officially tender his resignation. Carney will then swear oaths of office and allegiance and form a cabinet. This is expected to happen in the coming days. Okay. Under Canadian law, an election period must be at least 37 days and no more than 51 days, with the vote falling on a Monday. Party insiders have indicated Canadians will probably vote on April 28th or May 5th. So we're still going to wait a couple months for this while this all ties up. But that gives a good amount of time for this idiot to run around and act like he's going to be the savior of Canada with the tyrant of the South threatening our very lives and livelihood up here. As you know, if you've watched this show enough, I'm Canadian. So I'm Canadian, but I'll be honest with you. I would have no problem with being annexed by the U.S. at this point. We're just kind of a shell of a country over the last decade. So, anyways. Okay. So the former governor of the Bank of Canada and England, or of England and Canada, takes the job of Prime Minister as Ottawa finds itself at odds with its closest ally and largest trading partner. Last week, Trump announced a 25% tariff on all Canadian goods with a carve-out for the automotive and energy sectors. The tariffs have the power to push Canada's fragile economy into a recession. Okay. Yeah, that's hyperbole, but okay. Has the power to do. I know that's the whole thing for the last little while. It's been, recession, recession. Recession's the new climate catastrophe. Basically, it's like, oh, we're gonna go into recession. We're gonna go into recession. We're gonna go into recession. Just keep scaring people into this shit. We just live in this scare porn. Lately, it's just it's so tiring. Just sick of it. I just get these dog shit liberals out of power already. Get a majority government of the conservatives in, and let's just move on. Let's just try and correct some of the garbage. I'm not going to read any more of this dumpster fire article because honestly, I don't know how much more shit I can take, but you get it. So we got a new guy. You know, hopefully for a short term. Hopefully he doesn't play on all this this rhetoric of this tariff war and trade war and all this looming economic uncertainty and come in as the former governor of the Bank of Canada savior. By the way, this guy's signature is on our money. Ugh, what a dog shit douchebag. We're in for troublesome times. Just bring in more Indians, that will fix everything. We tried that one already, buddy. Didn't work. I don't know. You think they're good at math? They're really good at math. So the math ain't mathin' lately, though. I don't know what's going on. Maybe we just have to unleash. We have to unleash the Indians. Unleash them. They'll fix all the economic problems with their mathing. We actually, really, this is funny, but kind of true. We should let them negotiate all, trade deals and all that because they would be shrewd as shit. So, can you name one liberal city, state that hasn't gone to shambles? Yeah, exactly. It's the same in Canada. It's the same in the States. The primarily liberal areas in Canada would be like, you get some of the prairie provinces, like Manitoba and the eastern provinces. They all tend to vote liberal. NDP liberal. So, and they're all dog shit. They just have dog shit economies. We carry them. Ontario and Alberta primarily carry the country. So realistically, the rest is kind of dog shit. And they primarily vote liberal. So it's we're weird in Canada because we have 3 parties, 4 parties if you include the Green Party, but they never get much of anything. It's 3 real parties with the 4th being the Bloc in Quebec, but they're not a party that gets any votes as far as anywhere else in the country, but Quebec. So we have a few different parties here, which dilutes the water a little bit. It gets that's where you get the minority government where you get coalitions, where the NDP goes with the Liberals here, and then they form a coalition government. They're able to get things done, but we've been living in mostly minority governments for the last couple decades, so no one party can make a bunch of decisions on their own, typically. And it's been that way, luckily, for the last little while with the Liberals, but because they formed a coalition with the dog shit NDP, they were able to get things done. He's saying there will be a poo on the streets everywhere. You rivers will run with women doing laundry, and it will be a good thing. Poop on the streets. And on those weird videos where they're making weird foods in strange ways. You see, there's a lot of videos where they're making fun of it, which I find quite hilarious. Okay, let's get on to the next thing here. This is hilarious. I really kind of was looking forward to this. Because for one, this is from an absolute, complete dog shit. One of the worst companies out there, media companies out there, the National Post. They are complete dog shit. And this article has just made me laugh. So let me get on this thing here. Okay, so there's a proposed bill. I can't make this shit up. Proposed bill to stop. Oh, I got an ad blocker there. To stop Trump from being able to essentially annex Canada. can't make this shit up. I guess that's what he's trying to do. So it's a good thing that someone is putting some guardrails up, so the king of the South can't come up and take over the North. I'm going to read this dog shit post from the National Post here. He should just call himself Dog Shit Post. Proposed bill would keep Trump from funding military invasion of Canada. A new House of Representatives bill introduced last week would ensure U.S. President Donald Trump or any sitting president from using federal funds for a military invasion of Canada. Like, as if you couldn't have done it at any time. You could do it tomorrow. It would take 3 days, and the only reason why it take 3 days is because we got a lot of land. So you have to traverse the land. But it's basically, it would just basically like be like punching. It's like punching through foam. It's not going to be hard. Anyways, Rhode Island Congressman Seth Magaziner's No Invading Allies Act seeks to prohibit funds for the armed forces to engage in operations to invade or seize territory from Canada, the Republic of Panama, or the self-governing territory of Greenland. So you can see that they put it in there. This is, I won't say cleverly, written or cleverly sort of encompassed, but you can see where the real thing is there. Him to stop him from getting the Panama Canal back and from doing some kind of deal with Greenland. Really, they know that Canada is not even on the table. Like, Canada's a sovereign nation. There's no way that the U.S. are going to come in and somehow annex Canada. It's just not going to happen. It's more like a joke that Trump's saying it to kind of like, he's throwing it out as a joke to kind of as a feeler to say, hey, I wouldn't mind doing that. It's like if somebody said, hey, you know what, I'll give you my house. I wouldn't be like, oh, I'm going to go take your house. But I'd be like, oh, if you're going to give me the house, yeah, sure, I guess. I don't know. Maybe I'll take it. Anyways, so it's a joke, but it's written in a way to encompass like a real desire in with some bullshit thing that's obviously not going to happen. Such actions would needlessly cost American lives and resources, embolden our enemies, and destroy the alliances that have kept our nation safe since the end of the Second World War. Okay. On several occasions since being elected last year and starting well before his official inauguration in January, Trump has been expressly candid about his desire to acquire Greenland and reclaim the Panama Canal for the U.S. in January. He refused to rule out military force to do so. In February, University of Toronto's Munk School of Global Affairs and Public Policy senior fellow John Allen told the National Post such an action would be a direct violation of international law under the United Nations Charter. Okay, screw you, United Nations. You don't have any real say anymore. It's kind of a garbage organization as well. But yeah, I don't know why anybody would disagree with giving. I mean, okay, so the way he framed Greenland, I don't particularly like, because he said that the U.S. would work out a deal with Greenland and potentially now take it over instead of Finland essentially running Greenland. The U.S. would, but then he said, he kind of put it out there in a way where he was like, under any circumstances, like it's going to happen, which I don't like that he did that, because it kind of takes away any choice that Greenland would have or anyone would have, and it becomes a militaristic annexing of Greenland, which I don't think is going to happen, though. I think he's kind of saying that in that boisterous, blustery way of that Trump uses to negotiate, where he strong hand negotiates. So I don't think it's necessarily going to happen like that. But as far as the Panama Canal, yeah, U.S. built it. They gave it to Panama essentially. I think they should take it back. They should control that. That's a pretty key strategic area there to leave Panama in charge of. I think the U.S. should never have done that in the first place. So yeah, I think they should take it back. I don't think Panama will give any problem really to it, but anyways, obviously that's what this whole thing's about. As confirmed by soon-to-be former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau last week, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau last week, Trump's goal to use economic sanctions to create a total collapse of the Canadian economy because that'll make it easier to annex us. Okay, you're an idiot. As if that's what he's trying to do. But of course, like I said before, that's the rhetoric that they'll keep pushing to be able to get their guy Carney in there to act like he's the savior. He's saving Canada now against the tyrant Trump to the south. Not true at all. It's nothing but hyperbole and bluster, and it's designed to trick us all into voting for the dog shit liberals for a whole other cycle when they were clearly going to lose. Now, like I said, now it doesn't look great for us. So, pray for us. If you're a U.S. citizen, pray for us up here in Canada. We are your northern neighbors, and we need a little help. What are you saying there, buddy? I hate this idea. If there's anything we should fund, it's this. But no, we would fund cocaine hamster fights. We fund cocaine hamster fights. Yeah, I think funding cocaine hamster fights is pretty funny, actually. I think you could add in you could get bigger animals in there instead of hamsters. I think you could get little trash bandits. They might be fun. Yeah, this one's hilarious. What a hilarious article the National Post puts out. Some dog shit idiot retard fucking congressman comes up with a proposal of a bill to stop the U.S. from annexing Canada. Okay, whatever. As if that's gonna happen. Even if like I said, even if it was gonna happen, it's not. I don't think it's unwelcome. All right, let's get on to the next thing here. So if you've been watching the news cycle at all today, or you've been on X, you'll notice that X was hacked. It's been hacked a couple times. It gets hacked apparently quite often, but small, uncoordinated hacking efforts. It doesn't really do much against the platform. But today, apparently, it was a pretty big and coordinated attack. I'm going to read this article. This is Fox, so it's going to be a little bit more, a little more skewed towards the right, not so much dog shit propaganda. It's got its own propaganda. They're all dog shit, but not as it's a little different dog shit. It's got a different taste, if you will. All right. So Elon Musk says X facing massive cyber attack originating from the Ukraine area. Tech billionaire Elon Musk said that the social media platform he owns is facing a massive cyber attack, adding that the attack appears to be coming from the Ukraine area. Well, we're not sure exactly what happened, but there was a massive cyber attack to try to bring down the ecosystem with IP addresses originating in the Ukraine area, he said, while speaking to Fox Business's Larry Kudlow on Monday. Earlier in the day, Musk posted about the attack on X. There was and still is a massive cyber attack against X, Musk, who is heading the Trump administration's Doge, wrote on X. We get attacked every day, but this was done with a lot of resources, Musk said. Either a large coordinated group or a country is involved. X suffered periodic outages on Monday morning. Few additional details were immediately available. Musk purchased the social media platform, then known as Twitter, for $44 billion in October 2022. He rebranded the platform to X in July 2023. The outages come as another Musk company, Tesla, is facing takedown protests as facilities across the country, Sorry about that. Musk has alleged that left-wing billionaire George Soros, LinkedIn co-founder, and billionaire Democratic mega donor Reid Hoffman and others are bankrolling the demonstrations. Musk companies, which also include SpaceX, hold billions of dollars worth of contracts with the Department of Defense. Trump has praised Musk's work through the Department of Government Efficiency as the administration aims to save taxpayers billions of dollars in government spending it considers wasteful. So they're giving you a little bit of whatever on Musk, as if we don't all know. But yeah, this is there's a lot of coordinated efforts, it seems, to go after Elon now that he's heading Doge, which would scream this isn't typical protest stuff. This isn't typical where a thing's happening and people would get behind it so much. So it seems very coordinated. So I would think that this cyber attack has probably been coordinated by such nefarious parties that are trying to coordinate his takedown in the States. But there was also another cyber attack, a very large cyber attack against cryptocurrency just a couple of weeks ago. I'm going to read this article, a little bit of it. There might be some correlation in this as well, because it could be the same hacker group that might be doing this, because these guys are massive. So North Korean hackers cash out hundreds of millions from 1.5 billion Bybit hack. So what they've been doing, I'll give you a synopsis. I'm not going to read this article, but this Lazarus group, you probably heard of these guys before. They were responsible for a bunch of big crypto heists or hacks and some bank hacks and such. These guys, they were the ones that were behind that. I forget that big one in California, whatever it was, about a year ago almost now. And so they're they're responsible for this one. And now what the problem is with this is they've got all this crypto that they've basically taken this crypto and they have control of it, but they can't get it out. They can't get it out and transfer it into real money. So that's the problem with crypto. It's like if you can have a whole ton of crypto somewhere, but you have to sell it through exchanges and such, right? So it's got to be able to be exchanged into real money, or else it's just digital money. And it's all being tracked by, excuse me, by the what do you call it? Whatever. They're I forget what it's called. I'm drawing a blank here, but they track it electronically, right? So they know all the they know where it's all going, where whose hands it's transferred between. So right now they've been able to get 300 million of this 1.5 billion, so about 20% of it, where they've been actually able to get it out into cash. So it's unrecoverable at this point. But the rest of it, the 1.2 billion, it's still kind of out there. So I would think that big hackers like this in countries like North Korea, where there's really nothing we can do. I mean, if the country is shielding them and we don't have any kind of agreements in any way with this country, they can just kind of get away with what they get away with, and we just have to protect ourselves against it. So I would say there's a good chance that it's related. Like these groups are related to these big hacks like X's hack today. So I don't know, man. It's it would seem that these are coordinated in some way, at least. And what's to say that, I got to be careful what I say here because I don't want to get completely shadow banned on the thing. But nefarious acting people and groups that are going to be affected by Doge negatively, maybe working with these countries or hacking groups to go after enemies. We'll say it that way. So I don't know. It's I think it correlates. I think it's all kind of connected. So we'll have to see. We'll see what Elon comes up with, if they're able to figure out who exactly did hack X and why. But for now, it's all up in the air. What are you saying here? That's it. No more Starlink. You took away my bot girl followers for 2 hours. Inexcusable. Why can't these hackers do something cool, like just make all the ATMs in the world, just pour all the money at the same time? Yeah, there was remember what movie was it? It was one of the Superman movies where they did something like that, where they were screwing around with all the ATMs and they were all just dumping all the money. Yeah. Problem is those ATMs aren't exactly controlled that way. I don't think, anyway. They load them up, but I don't think they're like controlled, remotely or electronically that way. I think they're kind of to themselves, right? So I don't know how you'd hack into that system unless it's on some kind of weird network, which wouldn't seem to be, I don't know, unless they want to track how much money is in it, how much is coming out of it, but I don't think they really care, because I've actually got ATMs where they're out of money, where literally you go to try and take money out and it says it's out of money. It was back in my bar days, and it was those smaller ones. It wasn't the bank ones necessarily that I've ever run into that. It was always those smaller ones. I know people that have actually owned ATMs and they load them up with cash, which is kind of funny. So anyways, but yeah, that would be kind of cool though, if something like that were to take place. But chances are I never go to ATMs, so I wouldn't be availed to any of that myself anyway. So whatever. All right, let's get on to the next thing here. So Gavin Newsom has a podcast. I don't know. Guess somebody told him it was a good idea, which I actually think it is a good idea, to be honest. For him, it's, if you're playing the long game, which it seems like if you watch some of his podcasts, he probably is playing the long game. He sees that the ship is sinking. The Democrats' ship is sinking, so he's getting himself off of it. He's kind of pulling away from certain very unpopular positions that the Democratic Party has taken, especially with trans women, biological men playing in women's sports. So this is a CNN article. Okay, so yeah, it couldn't be worse, right? CNN we know is garbage. Let's see what they have to say. So Newsom becomes most prominent Democrat to buck the party and echo majority public opinion on trans athletes. Democratic Governor, California Governor Gavin Newsom is no stranger to going against the grain on significant social issues. I love this. Watch how this is written. This is funny because this is CNN, right? So they're gonna be very favorable to him and the Democratic Party, even though he's going against it. This is the whole, playing like, oh, we were always on this side. We were never that. We were never part of that. We didn't agree with that. That's wrong. It's where they gaslight you, right? 4 years before California voters passed a ballot initiative banning same-sex marriage in 2008, then San Francisco Mayor Newsom instructed the city clerk to issue marriage licenses to gay couples, defying federal law and solidifying his reputation as a longtime ally of the LGBTQ community. That history was top of mind for several Democrats last week when the governor said in his new podcast that transgender girls and women participating in female sports leagues is deeply unfair. The comments made him the most prominent Democrat to buck the party and echo public opinion on an issue that helped shape the 2024 election and could be a political liability once more in 2028. The episode quickly made good on the promise of the podcast, advertised as a place where the governor would answer the hard questions. Chief among those are the limits to the party's support for transgender Americans. The issue of fairness is completely legit, Newsom said on This Is Gavin Newsom last week. And we've got to own that. We've got to acknowledge that. Democrats have spent the last several years pushing back on a wave of anti-transgender bills and rhetoric led by Republicans, including Donald Trump, who made banning transgender athletes from women's sports a key part of his 2024 campaign. Most Democrats have been steadfast in their opposition to restricting or rolling back transgender rights, but in the wake of Vice President Kamala Harris's loss, millions in attack ads and public polling showing a majority of Americans disagree with Democrats on transgender athletes, some members of the party are acknowledging the political dilemma facing them. Yeah, you're jumping ship. That's what they do. They go, oh, no. Oh, we weren't for that. And then a little time passes and the gullible idiots that voted for him in the first place go, oh, it's kind of like, I don't know. I like Seinfeld, right? So there's a Seinfeld episode where he's doing this thing where he's like, hello. He's talking about the chick he's dating's belly button. When he goes to sleep, it continues, or when she goes to sleep, it continues talking in the night. So they're always, hello. And she gets wind of it and she dislikes it. And then he has to pick between that and doing that thing and not doing it, or in her or whatever. And of course he chooses doing the thing. But then it gets old. Just suddenly it gets old. And it's like, oh, we're not doing that anymore. It's just abruptly, it's like, oh, no, that's not funny anymore. And then they stop doing it. It's like, well, that's it. And then he goes to try and get back with her and that, and he finds out, after that, whatever. Anyways, I'm going long-winded into a Seinfeld episode. But what I'm saying here is they try and act like, no, oh, we never really did that. No, that wasn't what we were doing. We've always been whatever you think is right. That's what we're for, And then people go, oh, okay, well, yeah, no, we're with you. We're doing whatever. Now, oh, transgender women bad in female sports? Okay, I guess. The hard tards all the way over to the left are never going to give up on it. They're just, whatever. They're just completely lost. But it's the people that are, just easily swayable. They're the ones that are just going to kind of go with it and forget. They're going to forget what was said. And they're just going to go along with whatever is being said currently. A January New York Post Times Ipsos poll found that 79% of Americans, including 67% of Democrats, said they believe female transgender athletes should not be allowed to play on women's sports teams. Duh. Common sense. A Pew Research poll released last month found that 66% of Americans favor laws that require transgender girls and women to play on the teams of the gender that they were assigned at birth. The same poll also found that 56% of Americans favor laws that prevent discrimination against transgender Americans. I'm kind of for that too, in a way. Like, when I say prevent discrimination, but the discrimination of them can't discriminate against another whole section of people. So in other words, you can't say, oh, I'm not going to discriminate against a transgendered woman playing in women's sports, because that's going against the women and in that sector. But so you have to kind of pick what you do. Like you can have your own transgendered, section where you all play against each other. That's cool. That's fine. I'm all for that. But you can't just jump into this one and take it over. And that's what happens. Obviously, you see that when a transgender woman enters the female space, it doesn't go very well for the female athletes, especially if that transgender person is sort of newly, transitioned, right? Excuse me. For many Democrats, the debate was heightened in the aftermath of Harris's loss and the outsized impact of a Trump campaign ad that highlighted her past support for gender-affirming surgery for prison inmates. Kamala's agenda is they, them. President Trump is for you, one ad said. It's clever. Further down the ballot, Democratic Senate candidates Sherrod Brown of Ohio and Colin Allred of Texas, both of whom lost their races, also faced ads focusing on transgender girls in sports. So, anyways, this goes quite a little while. You can see quite a long-winded article about a bunch of bullshit. But the point is that Newsom now has a podcast that he is trying to correct the public image of him. Because I think, obviously, this is the guy. This is their front-running guy. I think they're preparing for the 2028 race, or even the midterms, essentially. But he's going to be the presidential candidate for 2028. So I think what they're going to do with this guy is they're going to have him. He's going to be he's basically the ace in the hole. They're going to scrub all his bullshit over the next year or two with his podcast, which is probably completely endorsed and accepted by the Democratic Party. They're probably happy he's doing it, and it's probably all, everything he's doing on there is to some degree scripted, and he'll be the ace in the hole for them when and if their desired candidate doesn't work out. So they'll have a desired candidate if they don't make through primary, and Gavin Newsom does. They got Gavin Newsom, right? Because let's be real, the white dude president works most of the time. It's the one that wins most of the time. I don't think en masse the American public is quite ready for a female president unless she's top notch. You can't just shove Kamala Harris in there or dog shit Hillary Clinton and hope that it's going to be the first female president. It's going to have to be a good female, and she's going to have to be a little bit better than the male counterpart. If you know what I mean. Like you can get kind of a dog shit white dude in there and he'll win just because it's kind of what they're used to, and now it'll be, now they'll have this dog shit white guy in the, waiting in the wings in case whatever candidate that they want to push doesn't work out. So, God bless him. He's doing a good job cleaning up his whole image on his podcast. We'll see how that goes. Newsom AOC. That's not unlikely. I don't know about AOC though. AOC's a little bit too. I can see more like Newsom Whitmer. I mean, she's still someone. But I think they're still gonna want to push some type of ethnicity in there because the diversity. They're not letting go of this diversity thing, which I'm fine with as long as it's merit based. But like I said, I don't give a shit what color skin you are or what nationality or whatever you are. It doesn't matter. It's all about merit for me. But yeah. Anyways, amazing how they change their minds on a whim. Yeah, I know. Well, that's what they do, right? It's just like whatever way the wind's blowing. That's the way they're gonna go. Not South Park. Family Guy did a funny episode on where Lois, the wife, is running for I guess it was something to do with the education. It was something to do with the schooling or whatever, probably the Board of Education president or something like that. And she's just throwing out like bullshit terms. Like she's like 9/11 and she'd get claps. and then she'd be like 9. They'll be like, oh, 11. It's the same thing with the masses. They're just dumb. It's like buzzwords and buzz shit. It all works. It seems to work. I think when you get under a certain IQ, It's manipulation's easy for these people. They just know how to do it. They keep saying the same thing over and over and over, and then it's just sinks, right? Yep, common sense is not common. Agree. I don't know, man. I think Ronda Rousey can still take me. Yeah, Ronda Rousey could take me too. Yeah, you remember that episode? Yeah, that episode was pretty funny. Anyways, okay, let's get on to the next thing here. This is the one. This is what I really wanted to talk about. It's funny because I left it to the end because realistically, it's it's what I want to talk about. I always like to end on what I want to talk about. Here we go. So if you are a Severance fan, the show Severance, I should say, Apple TV's darling show, you'll notice, or you should notice, at least this season has just been, I don't know, man. It's been hard to watch. I've been trying the first few episodes. I was like, whoa, like, what did I really love about this show? It started to make me forget what I really loved about the show. And then it started to get a little bit better, a little bit, it started to go up a little. And I was like, ooh, I'm getting interested again. And now it's like more dog shit. This last episode was just, I'm not going to, I'll spoil a little bit, I'm sure, with this. This article is probably going to spoil a little. So if you haven't watched the new episode, maybe pause this, go watch, come back, and then comment and let me know what you think. But I'm going to read this article. This article here is the Independent. So I don't know how I feel about the Independent. I don't read a lot of political arguments out of the Independent articles, I should say. So they're meh. Severance sparks debate about after fans slam boring new episode. Severance fans have flocked to social media to complain about the latest episode of the hit Apple TV Plus series, with some calling it the worst to date. The psychological thriller is more than halfway through its highly anticipated second season, which has so far earned rave reviews from viewers and critics. I don't know how, but Severance stars Adam Scott, Britt Lower, Zach Cherry, and John Turturro as a group of employees at the mysterious Lumen Company, which is run by the equally suspicious Egan family. All four have undergone a procedure called severance, in which their consciousness is completely divided between their work selves and home selves in a daring experiment to find a work-life balance. So far, despite many twists and turns, fans are still trying to figure out exactly what is going on in the show. Yeah, so when you watch the first season, it was it started really intriguing, and you were like, "Oh, what's going on? What's going on?" The whole time you're watching that first season, you were like, "Whoa, what's going on? What's going on?" And you were like, you were just carried along. It was so good. By the end of the season, I was like, I was mad because I knew I'd have to wait a year. As it turns out, almost 3 years because of the stupid writer strike to get a second season. So I was just irritated. It's one of those shows that when I watched the first season, I was like, fuck me. I should have just not watched this show and then binged it. It's a bingeable season, in other words. Let me just carry on here. Although episode 7, which delved into Mark's backstory with his wife Gemma, received some of the most positive reactions of the season so far, episode 8 has had a less than enthusiastic response. So, yeah, if you watched it, you'll know why, because it was dog shit. The episode in question reintroduces Harmony Cobell, Patricia Arquette, who has since been, or has been seen since, hasn't been seen since the start of season 2. Viewers are given a deep dive into Cobell's unbringing and her early obsession with the Egans. So I'm not going to go all into this because honestly, I don't want to blow too much if you haven't watched it. It's unnecessary for me to blow it. And whatever. It's just whatever. It's just giving you a synopsis of what went on in the show. The episode was pretty short though. It was 37 minutes. Thank God it was short, because honestly, after about 10, 15 minutes of it, I wanted to turn it off. I was actually thinking, should I just forward it off nearer to the end of the episode and hopefully things would have happened. But I held it together and I just continued to watch. I think had it been 38 minutes, I might have done that, but it was only 37 minutes. It took forever to just get there, but it seems that this season has been like that. This season has been, I don't remember that from the first season where it just took forever for things to develop, or they do a thing like if you went to an old age home, to a retirement home, right? And you went to see someone there, let's say it's your great grandmother or something, and they wanted to show you around their room, their one room. and they took an hour to give you a tour of their one room. That's what the episodes feel like. It feels like it's telling you something in 37 minutes that they could tell you in about 3 minutes. It just drags on. And I know they're going for effect and they're going for all these different stupid things. They're trying to get a feeling, but it just absolutely missed horribly. And I just feel like the whole season's kind of been like that. Like I said, with a little bit of a peak, but more lows than highs in this season. And it's getting me to the point where I'm actually considering giving it up. But, I'm almost like whatever. I'm eight episodes into season 2 now, and through a whole season, I'm kind of invested now, and it hasn't completely jumped the shark yet for me, where they've done something where you're just like, oh, that's so stupid. It's just so dragging on. And I just don't, it feels like they know where it's going. Like they know where it's going to end. They just don't know how to get there. They're just kind of taking you there oddly. They're taking you the longest, stupidest path ever. It's like, we're going to head south, but we're going to go west for a while. And then we're going to go south a little bit. Then we're going to go east for a fuck ton of a while. Like, why don't we just go straight south? It's, it's not enjoyable. This is not the scenic route. This is the awful way out of your way route. This is like driving through the Canadian prairies. There's nothing to see, and it's a throwaway. So this season has just been kind of bad so far. I don't know. I don't know if it's going to redeem itself. I don't know if we're just in a lull. I hope so, because I like the show. Let me know what you think. What do you think let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think this thing is gone? Do you think they've, 2 and a bit years of, of no show kind of threw it off, or they just don't know where to go with it? Or do you think it's good and I'm retarded? I don't know. Let me know what you think. Is it better than, no, it's not better than Breaking Bad. Breaking Bad was awesome. Breaking Bad had a couple episodes where it was a little bit of development in the episodes where it was a little slow, but not even that much. And has a high rewatch value. Like Breaking Bad, you could watch the whole 6 seasons of it again, and you'd be entertained as long as it's been enough time between when you watched it. I've watched it twice through, complete from season 1 through to the end, and it's a great watch. So this, I don't know. If you haven't watched Severance, I don't know what to tell you. Like I recommend season 1 to everybody. I'm like how good it was. It was one of the best shows. It's in my top, like season 1's in my top 10 for sure, easily in my top 10 shows of all time. Like maybe top 5 probably. And but season 2, oof. Like, it's rough. I don't know what to think. You watch Breaking Bad every other year. Yeah, I can imagine. It's just fantastic. It's such a good show. And even the tie up, the finish of it that they did on it was just, it was great. I mean, it tied it up so well. Really, really good show. And Better Call Saul was the same way. It was just a fantastic show. Just Severance is just missing the mark. It's just, like I said, I don't know. I just feel like I said, I feel like they know where it ends. They don't know how to get there. So they're just kind of flubbing their way through and trying to entertain us on the way there, but not at all. This last episode was complete dog shit. Probably one of the worst episodes of any show I've ever watched, ever. It was so bad. It even ended kind of stupid and weird. It was like, whatever. I don't want to spoil anything because, don't watch it. No, I'm just kidding. Watch it, but know that for 37 minutes, you're going to be irritated. And you're going to be thinking, why the fuck did I, as one guy was saying in that article, that he was literally on his phone the whole time watching it, which you could be. Yeah. My favorite line is still from episode 2, the cow house. I can't remember. I got to watch it again. I haven't watched it in a couple of years. Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember, especially the early episodes, because it would be the furthest back of what I watched, right? But anyways, yeah. Well, we're at 50 minutes. You know what? Yeah, that's all I got. Let me change the scene. Change over to this camera. Yeah. So it's March break, and I don't know. What do you got going on, Joe? Let's wrap for a couple minutes. I got nothing. Just trying to plan. I got a couple big jobs to plan over the next little bit, and I'm trying to plan a Vegas trip. So when they went to the desert, he's like, "Yeah, it's nothing but cows." Oh yeah, okay. Anyway, go watch BB again. Yeah. I should actually. Yeah, it would take the dog shit taste of this last episode of Severance out of my mouth. But yeah. All right, let's call it. Go prepare for your watch of Timcast. I might actually watch it a little bit, see what's going on with that. Just get my car tomorrow and looking for work. Yeah, well, what are you looking for work? Like, what are you looking for work in? Anything specific? Up here, it's like, I don't know. I don't know if the economy is being necessarily affected by anything. Like, I've been looking for gas prices to spike, but they haven't really. So these tariff things, like I say, I think are more of a scare tactic. I think it'll affect certain things. It's going to affect the price of certain things, but I don't know. Don't think much of it's going to be much of a scare, or much more of a scare than it actually affects bottom line stuff. So we'll see. I think he's going to walk it back a little bit too. All right. I'm getting at it. We're 52 minutes in. Thanks for watching. Anybody who did. Thanks, Joe, for being with me, buddy. If you missed any part of the podcast and you don't want to go back and watch it, well, you can check during the week between Tuesday and Sunday. I drop segments of the podcast at 5:00 Eastern Standard Time. I drop the ones that I think are going to get the most views and watches, and I leave out the other ones. So if you really are curious to watch and see what we talked about this week, well, you're going to have to watch the whole damn podcast. If you're not yet a subscriber and you do like the channel, do subscribe to the channel. It's the best way to support it. And share, like, comment, all that kind of stuff. Any kind of engagement on a small channel like this helps the algorithm let you know that it's good content and it's worth promoting. So to all my subscribers that do watch, thank you very much. Joe, thanks for being with me always. What are you saying there? I have to move in 3 months, so anything that can give me an apartment from now, if I can find work cooking for $20 an hour, I'll take it. Yeah, I know. Yeah, you said you're a cook. Well, buddy, I wish you luck, man. I don't know how the Michigan economy is as far as jobs and stuff, but you get the right government in and now to maybe create some stuff for you. So wishing you luck, brother. Hopefully everything goes your way. Thanks for being with me, buddy. Thank you, everyone else. And I'll see you next week, March 17th. Oh, it's St. Patrick's Day. Jeez, we're running in some weird dates. Oops. St. Patrick's Day. So yeah, I'll most likely see you anyway. 7:00. So look for me then. And McDonald's is paying $18. Holy jeez, man. That's crazy. Well, I guess they can't find anybody. So, hey, McDonald's. I worked at McDonald's. It was a great job back in the day. Really, really cool job. I liked it. So, and whatever, might get me in trouble with the missus, but there was like 80% were girls I worked with. So I think there was like 10 guys and like 40 girls. So it was fantastic. So really liked it in my high school days when I worked there. All right. Thanks for watching. Thanks, Joe. See you next week, 7:00 Eastern Standard Time. Look for me then for the live broadcast and check for the content during the week. And until then, take care. We'll see you then.